All right, another podcast from the Michigan Institute of Athletics in Brighton, Michigan. It's going to be a stellar podcast today. I'm joined by two guests. Right before I get into it, I want to shout out VetLife. VetLife is a 501c3 nonprofit company. It's a company of veterans for veterans. Every veteran faces difficulties when they transition from active duty back to civilian life, and VetLife is there to ease that transition. If you would like to reach out to VetLife, you could do so through Instagram or Facebook, or check out their website at vetlifetoday.org. So without further ado, I want to introduce Nick Mannisto and Jacob Hanson. You guys are, you're a business owner in the community. You have a project that you launched recently. But before we get right into that part of the story, I kind of want to take it back and set the stage on, how did you guys meet? How did your energy come together? What made you decide it was a good fit? And Nick, so I guess I'll start with you. You were telling me a little bit before the podcast, you were born and raised here in Howell. You actually know some of the fighters on the team. Let's quickly talk about kind of what you were like as a kid. Were you into sports? Because I'm always fascinated by the people that are able to be entrepreneurs or they're able to venture out on their own. What gives them that type of trait?
For sure. My name's Nick. I'm the owner of Authentic Entertainment, and I built the whole business Authenticity. So back in when I was in high school, I was a swimmer, hardcore swimmer and stuff. I was never the best, but I grew up that kind of built how my whole business is kind of through swimming and the friends I met there to where I am now. So the character that you build through swimming kind of giving me the entrepreneurial spirit and the kind of values that I bring every day to my life.
So sports were a huge part of creating you into the man that you are today. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So many athletes say that. They say their life and their selves were changed dramatically from having to be in that environment. What do you attribute it to the most? Was it a coach that inspired you? Was it just the work ethic? Was it being a part of a team? Was it finding self-confidence through competence of your skills? What affected you the most?
It was probably the team the most, and the camaraderie that you get from swimming. It had probably the strongest kind of bond that you can make as a team. You swim together every day, and you're hustling in the pool every day, and you're not crying per se, but you are really pushing it towards, and then that camaraderie goes into the meets that you do, and the friendships you really bond there is just bar none the best.
Well, and all you guys are getting up before everyone at school. Swimmers get up the earliest.
100%. So let's talk about your early life, though. Did you come straight out of high school and venture into entrepreneurship? You started to say, how can I make something for myself? Or did you work other jobs first? And then if so, what led to the spark of saying, it's my time to create something?
First off, my first job was at Clear University right down the street, being a dishwasher and prep cook. Did that for a good 2 years, kind of built my character there, because you have to build that character first in the dishwasher, and make that the best area you can be to kind of go to the next step per se. That's how I took it as look back at it. That's how the chefs that were there, they kind of, so you got to make this is your area.
So you took pride in the things that you did right off the bat.
Yeah.
Even though you're washing dishes, you're like, I'm going to do this to the best of my ability because I realize this is temporary and it's going to lead me to another step.
Yeah, correct.
Excellent. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Jacob. Kind of the exact same question. What were you like as a young man? Were you in sports? Were you influenced by sports? What did you first start with in the working fields? What did you think you were going to be? And then let's lead up to how did you guys come together?
All right. So I actually grew up in Iowa. I moved to Michigan. It must have been 2008. My mom got a job out here. She worked for Williams-Sonoma at the time. So we moved out here, just started high school for the move. But for me, I started working as soon as I could when I was 15, 16 years old. Send out a ton of applications, finally got one back, and it was from McDonald's. That was my first start, working in the dish tank, working the drive-through window, the kitchen in there, doing everything, basically. And I've always been in restaurant. I've always been in cooking. So I went from there to another restaurant as a busboy, and then finally a salad prep cook, and then a line cook, Then I did a bunch of work at Schoolcraft. Actually, we both went to Schoolcraft. We both worked at Schoolcraft for years, and that's actually where we met in the culinary program.
Oh, very cool. So your story's intertwined at that part of your life. You're both going to school, you're learning these culinary skills, you become friends in school, and then down the road the business idea takes off. Before you got to what you're doing now, and before we get to that chapter, did you ever have a point in your life where you had like a certain set, this is what I want to become, this is what I'm going to become? Or was it just kind of going through different activities, waiting to find what kind of spoke or called out to you?
Well, when we were always at Schoolcraft and kind of the day of the culinary program is 2-year, kind of the best chefs in the nation kind of are there, and it's a great education. But we always just talk, and it's like, oh, I always have these ideas I always like throw out, kind of just, and I learn by myself just talking through situations. And I was like, what about we make sandwiches on a food truck when we were back in at school. And but that was, we were like Cuban to Rubens or something, and then putting fries in there and stuff. But that,
between the slices or something. We talked about doing a sandwich food truck for a long time.
Yeah.
But you just threw the idea out there. You were just brainstorming ideas, like, what should we do? And you were like, let's just do a food truck. It was that simple. It just came in a casual conversation, and then you guys started looking into it more.
Not saying that we were gonna do that, but just we were just talking like, oh, that would be cool. Just cooking Cuban, because I love
just BSing back and forth. Yeah. It's we do that a lot, and it's sometimes realistic things, sometimes unrealistic things, and sometimes it just sparks that idea.
And who's to say what is realistic or unrealistic, because you don't really know what the future entails. Some of the best ideas I've ever had have come up exactly how your business came about, where I was just brainstorming, or not even brainstorming, just talking with enthusiasm, with what could the future be, with ideas and bouncing it off somebody else, and then it almost builds momentum. When you say an idea and then someone else kind of says something else that goes with it, it's like a snowball rolling downhill. Next thing you're going, wait a second, I kind of got a vision for this thing. I kind of see how we could create this thing. And that's something that now, as someone that's on the successful side of business, I still try to do frequently. I try to get together like the great minds in my circle on a regular basis and just talk without even direction, without we have to focus on a certain topic or this meeting is about blah. Because I find some of the best inspiration I've ever gotten in my entire life has come from casual conversation.
Right.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, that's what we're excited about, because we're kind of fast forwarding to where we're going. We open up a food truck, wood-fired pizza, and we're...
Wait, we can't skip right to that. So we're going... The last thing we talked about, you guys are having a little bit of conversation, you're getting excited about it, you're both still in the culinary program, right?
Yep.
So then how does it go from that to like, all right, we're going to do this? Because there's a spark in that period. It's that you ran with an idea. You decided how you were going to get the funds. Let's talk about that process, because there's countless people out there that are having those ideas, or they have a vision, or them and their boys have an idea that they'd like to move forward. But a lot of people never make that jump. So maybe it was effortless for you, but we should still talk about that period of like, what made you finally say, we're going to do this?
I think it was because we toured Europe for a month, and kind of just... I think that made us more creative as people as well, just seeing the different kind of areas and part of Europe and Italy, and then having pizza there. And
what sent you to Europe? Why did you want to go to Europe? Because that's huge. Like, we would have missed that part of your story. And that was probably something that really gave you insight on different ways to make this work. What made you go to Europe? How did that idea come about? What were your goals in Europe? Was it just see the world? Talk about that.
It was... So Schoolcraft, when you graduate, the chef Marcus there, he has
great chef.
Yeah, he's like, oh, who wants to go? He's like kind of the tour guide. We went to Paris for a week, and then I told Chef Marcus, like, hey, can we just stay here after you guys go? And we stayed there and didn't have any idea how to get around Europe at all.
So a little backstory: Schoolcraft is a French cooking school, and so he does this little program. He'll take people out there for a week. And he's been doing it for a long time. He knows a lot of people out there. He knows the spots to go. And so he can kind of take you on this perfect little tour to cap off, like, after we went through this French cooking program, some of the things that we had been learning and practicing and seeing it in everyday use,
That's awesome. So you got to go see, and I've been to Paris, and it is like a cultural shock. It's just different, and I've been all over the world, and I think it's a very eye-opening experience when you see different cultures. And the way that different people live and what they value. And I think it helps stretch your mind. It helps kind of like take you out of the little box that has been created by, where you were born and raised, and it makes you see bigger pictures, right? And by doing that, now all of a sudden you might brainstorm new ideas. You might think outside of the traditional box for your culture. So you guys come back from first of all, if there's any awesome stories from Paris, make sure you tell them, or any moments that you're like, this is really cool. We'll talk about those. And then you come back from Paris, and then was it right foot on the gas from that point? Like, okay, like this is what we're doing. We're inspired. We just got back from overseas. It's time to make the jump. Let's talk about that.
The stories in Europe were awesome. We actually were in Amsterdam one time, and these guys are like, well, we just went to the farmer's market in Amsterdam.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We just went to the farmer's market, and we got venison and these sea cucumbers and wild mushrooms that were dried, and arboreal rice and stuff. And we were like, hey, guys, can you help us cook these ingredients and stuff? And we were like, okay, Iron Chef Amsterdam. We just threw something together for these random people. They're in Connecticut or something, and it was an awesome memory.
We found this really cool. I think it was considered a hostel. They basically had some land, a decent amount of land with some amenities there. They had like laundry service, which when we went there, they were actually getting new ones, so we couldn't do laundry while we were staying there for a couple days, of course. But they had this really cool outdoor kitchen, kind of under like a gazebo type deal. So it was super cool. Yeah, we just started talking to this couple, and they were like, oh, we got this food, and they found out we were chefs. They're like, oh, like, do you guys know about this ingredients? We have no idea, like, half of this stuff. We just thought it sounded interesting, and so we, like, cooked up a whole meal for everybody. And
How awesome is that? I love how life just makes things fall into place. What are the odds that you just meet that couple that has all these ingredients that they just picked up from the farmer's market, and from their eyes and their perspective, they run into two chefs that are visiting from America? Like, what are the odds of that? That's fascinating, and that's a moment you'll remember for the rest of your lives, because there's a human experience there. You know what I mean? And I can tell, at least from my life story, experience trumps everything, man. I tell you what, more than materialistic things, more than money in your bank account. Oh, yeah. When you have amazing experiences around the world with different people, and you share in energy and connection, that stuff's powerful. So you guys come back from Europe, and then do you make the switch right away, or how does that happen? I need to know that point in time where you finally said, we're doing it, and like, what got you there?
So when we were in Europe, Jake was saying, "Oh, I don't know." They offered me a position at Rockies.
Well, yeah, I used to work
in Europe. So you could have stayed there.
No. I worked at this. It's called Rockies at Northville. There used to be Rockies at Brighton out here, and so I had been there for a couple years. I started, like I said, as the salad guy. Moved up to the hotline. I was the saute guy, and right before they left, they offered me the sous chef position. And of course I took it at the time, but exactly what you were talking about, you see some new cultural, you just get out of your space for a while. And while I was there, I realized, I was like, I don't think I want to do that anymore specifically. And that's when I came back. I talked to my Rockies and stuff, didn't end up taking it. And I called Nick because he was working at Schoolcraft and looking for a job. Got me a job at Schoolcraft.
How cool, though, because you traveled and because you stretched that box, the Jacob that never went over to Europe, didn't see that part of the world, didn't cook for those random people, might have just taken that job at Rockies and worked there for the rest of your life. That's a possibility.
Yeah, yes.
But because of that experience and stretching you as a human being, you came back and you said, no, that's not it for me. There's something else out there for me. That's amazing. And that's a little bit of gold for people that are listening to this, that, stretch yourself, find what you love, find good experience, because that can drastically alter the course of your life. Even a little interaction.
Just a little different perspective on something can, really change your mind on how you feel about it, or just the way you think about it, So
you were working at Schoolcraft. What were you doing there? Were you now one of the people leading the new students, or what was your job at Schoolcraft?
We were the food service side, cooking for the cafeteria and all the businesses coming there for the catering, and buffets and stuff, and we're just doing that every day.
Now, how did you get that job?
I don't. I just ask.
Well,
I just say, hey, I worked with you during. I like the chef, so Chef Aaron Cook. He's amazing. Great
Yeah.
mentor for us and stuff as kind of beginner in the culinary industry and stuff. And we did a class in there, and I was like, I liked your teaching, whatever, and it's like, hey, are you hiring per se or whatever? And I would like to work for you guys or whatever. Work over here, work for you. And then that's how that happened to Jake, and now to working there for 5 years and then quit.
So you took a shot at it though.
Mm-hmm.
You went out of your comfort zone and was like, hey, I'd like to be this spot. I don't know if this position. It wasn't like they were saying, hey, we're hiring. We need this person. You stepped up and said, I would like to offer a service here. Is there any position? And then you got an opportunity because so. But you put the initiative in for that to take place. So then you get Jacob on board. You said you worked for 5 years there. So unless there's any profound things that stick out during that 5 years, we can kind of fast forward most of that period because it's probably you're in a routine, you're doing your job, you're making money, but there's some essence of fulfillment that's lacking. Otherwise, you would have stayed there and you would have just continued doing what you're doing. When did you realize it was time to leave that? And then what created that spark? Why did you have that idea? What made you step outside of that? And then let's start to craft the next part of your story.
Yeah, for sure. So during that time at Schoolcraft again, I was like, what is the next step? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do this? Or I don't know. There's so many options as a chef you could be. You could work on a farm. You can do this, be the executive chef. I was going to be a bachelor's and go work in a hospital. But I'm glad I didn't do that. That would have been crazy just the past year. But then I took up the chance. I was like, let's see what catering, because I've always done that, and I started up Authentic Entertainment LLC, and then that's kind of that during Schoolcraft time. I had that little kitchen to kind of practice a little stuff and do some beer dinners out of doing prep, and then leading up to it, Jake was helping me out with that too. Leading up to leaving there and going full-time into catering for Authentic Entertainment as a DJ and entertainment.
So you were kind of already building your own brand and processes even while you were there. It wasn't like you said, okay, I'm going to leave this, and then you started Authentic Entertainment. You had already had the idea, and you were kind of like putting the pieces together while you were working there.
Correct.
That makes sense.
It's just whatever kind of fit, and it was like, oh, let me just try it. It's got to... I always watch Gary Vee. I think Jake brought up, have you listened to Gary Vee before?
I
was like,
think
no.
I did.
Yeah, I think you did. So I was like, I don't know who that guy is. And I just like kept listening to him and then listening to him every single day. And then,
Let me tell you what, those people will change your life if you stay consistent. If you stay consistently listening to Gary Vee, Eric Thomas, Les Brown, any of these speakers that they invoke so much emotion in people and so much belief that might be locked behind fears and self-doubt and all these things. It's like it's almost impossible not to change in a better direction if you frequently consume that type of energy.
They're mentally tough.
David Goggins, okay,
now
like
I've been listening to Simon Sinek, whereas like
I listen to him as well. Phenomenal speaker.
That's how I now going about my whole business. So
People don't buy what you do; they buy why you do it. You ever hear that? That's Simon Sinek. I constantly study these ultra successful people and speakers, and because they're just human beings too, but they're human beings that have really figured out how to be a high caliber human being and to translate that message so that other people, even if they're not at the same level now, can receive it and be like, man, maybe I can step up to a new level. So as soon as Nick starts going, you know what, I'm creating this Authentic Entertainment. Did you know, like, listen, I want to be a part of this. Like you guys are good friends at this point, and it kind of came together? Or did he create this on his own, and then once he gets it up and running, he goes, Jacob, I want you to be a part of this. How did that partnership form?
Well, so he's really good at talking to people, meeting people, and creating relationships, and so he just has a ton of people around him always, and people would call him and like, hey, like we got this little party going on, or hey, we got a wedding, and Nick's a yes man. He likes saying yes, which is good, which is a good thing, and so he would need help on these events that he would always pretty much say yes to, no matter what it was, because he's trying to get his foot in the door. He's trying to, you know what I mean? He's trying to get the work started, and so I'd come and like we did a wedding out of his house for 150.
A friend, yeah.
150 people. When his kitchen was getting redone, so it's like had like a little bit of countertop, you know, like
we never told we never told the client, so they don't need, we took it off flawlessly. So
we made it work perfect, and they were really happy. It's just making something out of nothing is kind of what I'm getting at. And
I understand this to a level that you can't even imagine, because most of my life I was a yes man in anything. I don't care if it put me behind the 8 ball or backed into a corner, or like most people would be looking at me going, there is no way possible that you're going to accomplish what you just set out to do. But I'm the type of dude that, and probably the same as you, like I'll jump out of an airplane and like find a way to have a parachute by the time I hit the ground. Like
that's Nick.
That's exactly who you are. And in some fashion, that is incredibly helpful to be an entrepreneur, because your fear response, or all of the things that can go wrong, is secondary to your like, I will get it done. And most people aren't wired that way. Most people are, they get get that kind of offer and they're going, my kitchen's being remodeled. This is that. They look at all of what could go wrong instead of like, I will find a way to get it done. Like I just have the mindset probably the same as you. No matter what, I'll get it done. I promise you. If I commit to something, I will get it done. But you're probably more the sensible, like, how do we actually structure this, Nick? How does this come together? How do we fulfill? Yes, and what I can tell you is, as being a little bit older now and having gone through a lot of that, at some point as a yes man, you have to realize you need to set healthy boundaries. You need to be able to say no. You have to be able to put your foot down. You need to be able to realize when you are overextending, because at some point you will spread yourself so thin, you'll start giving 20% of who you really are. Yeah. And then that's a reflection on your brand.
That's one thing I say to him all the time. Don't spread yourself too thin. Yeah. I say that all the time.
That's what I'm learning myself right now. And so I am holding back a little bit during this big transition we're going through. So
I had people say that to me for years, and those words went in the ears, didn't register in a single thing, and out. And it was like I was not even there, because I'm just at the end of the day, like, you don't know me, I'll get it done. Don't worry about it. Once I learned how to be able to like now say, no, I'm on it. I can't do that, but I can handle this, and I can give my best in all my ventures because I'm not overworked and overbooked. Oh my God, Nick, you might not believe me now, but it's a million times better on this side once you get there. I'm telling you. So how does it come into play that Jacob joins? So basically you're saying yes to everything. Do you reach out to Jacob and say, bro, I need some help? Like I've got all these engagements. How does the partnership really start to form? And then when is it that you guys realize your differences and stuff start yielding like, wow, we can really, build this thing together?
Well, it's kind of, I don't know. Do you want to say something?
So, I mean, it started just with Nick getting calls from people, saying yes to everything, needing help, and calling me because we've been good friends. And I had done catering for years with Chef Aaron, who, worked at Schoolcraft, been doing it for years, so I kind of knew what I was doing, and we knew we could work together really well. And, I mean, kind of when that was going on, something I think it's cool to talk about is the beer dinners. You, briefly mentioned it, but Nick loves beer. He loves good beer, and he loves local beer. And so he knew some people who went through
friends.
And friends.
Yeah.
And he went through the beer program, met some friends there who are in a couple breweries around here, and one of them specifically, Supernatural Brewery. They really liked Nick. Nick loved one of the guys there and made a collab of doing these beer dinners. So we would prepare a menu, and the brewer there would pair his beers with what we're cooking for the day, and we would do ticketed sales. And I think that was a really big thing that kicked off, Authentic Entertainment was being able to do that inside of a restaurant and getting the response that we did. Like, there was one that was the Harry Potter dinner. It was huge, sold out. I was actually not there for that one, which was a bummer, but I think that was just a huge kickstart for it.
So now that we're leading into Authentic Entertainment, for the people that are listening, tell me all about the company. Tell me the vision. Tell me the direction you want to take it. Tell me the services that you encompass. Like, kind of really give me a breakdown on what you see this entity as.
Yeah. So I based the authentic entertainment with Gary Vee. He's like authenticity, and I was like, what do I like doing? I like cooking with fire. I don't know. So we went to a food truck, and then we I like playing music, so I like to DJ weddings, and then I like doing those both together. And now we have the food truck and DJ. So while we could cooking the pizzas, I can be DJing the wedding and emceeing it and making the night flow into it. So I built the whole brand on authenticity, and the vision is I like music festivals, and so we did a music festival in Lost Lands in Ohio, and that was crazy. Lost a whole bunch of money, and everything went wrong. Had no idea what I was doing. That's another story of saying yes and not knowing at all what I was doing, and that came out good, and we went back next year, and we made a ton of money.
So you probably learned tremendously from those experiences, though.
There's 70,000 people there serving coffee, and then just everything went wrong where they shipped the supplies to a FedEx location. I called before, can you hold it there? They didn't hold it. They shipped it back to where it was coming from. So I had to call the company, call my team that was kind of in different parts of the area. Hey, can you ship me some product to do this? And they air shipped it to me, and trying to figure out all the logistics. Literally everything went wrong. And then the sign was wrong. Oh, it was literally the worst thing ever, but the best thing. So, and great memories.
That right there was so important for anyone with a dream or that is trying to go for something. He just said everything went wrong, and it was the best thing ever. Because you literally learned in the fire. You didn't learn from a textbook about how to set up for a music festival. You went into the experience as a yes man, like, I'm gonna figure it out. Everything went wrong. So what did you have to do? You had to problem solve. You had to think on your feet. You had to find solutions. You had to reach out for help. You had to network with people. And through those experiences, you gained so much experience, more than you could ever gain from a textbook. You could sit down and take 4 years on classes, but that one failed festival, not even failed, was probably the greatest learning gift that you could have.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. We've done a good handful of events, that were obviously just, that did not work out, and they were huge learning experience of why they didn't work out. What did we do wrong? Was it our fault? Was it someone else's fault? And if we thought it was someone else's fault, could we have done something to make that better?
Personal responsibility is a big thing. And just that learning in real time, like, you either are winning or you're learning. But either way, those are good things.
I'm the last in line, so this festival's going to happen or it's not. So it's literally I'm the last in line, and everything is on me to get everything going. No one's going to be calling this person to make this happen, to ship this here, to do that. And so so it's all on me, and I got to make it happen. So
now, how long has Authentic Entertainment existed for? Like, when did you create it? What stage are you at now? And then, like, moving forward, what's your big vision for it? Where are you going to take this? Like, or are you kind of taking it day by day and just seeing the process evolve?
The Authentic Entertainment's been around now for, so Monday, it was Valentine's Day, so the 14th, and so that was the anniversary of Authentic Entertainment, and it's been around for 4 years now. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Do you have any, like, are you just steering the ship as it goes, or, like, do you see where you're trying to take it? What's kind of like the end game in a perfect world? Where do you get to?
No. So back then I didn't know what was happening. So I was like, let's just do something. Let's just do this. I like music festivals, whatever. But now it's kind of, I like fire. My bud, Eric, he started Captains. So Captains,
he sparked the idea.
Yeah, he sparked the idea. A friend, he was like, hey, they're looking for a pizza guy out in Lansing. I was like, I've never made pizza before, but I'll say yeah. So I had no idea how to make pizzas. I watched probably hundreds of hours of YouTube just to learn how to make pizza, work the fire well, do this.
You can learn anything on YouTube now.
Mm-hmm. So I did that for a year and a half, and now the pandemic hit. I was like, I can't lose this momentum going with Captains. So
What is Captain's? It's a pizza shop in Lansing?
it's a food truck. So it's a food trailer doing wood-fired pizza, specializing in farmers markets, weddings, mostly farmers markets because I'm really trying to hone in local pizza pie. So
And that name of Captain's is from when he was working in Lansing.
yeah. So it's Captain's wood-fired pies. Still building on that authenticity. I love cooking with fire. So the pandemic happened. Didn't want to lose momentum. Took all my life savings out right during the pandemic and bought a food truck, food trailer out in New York, right in the middle. So June, I got the food truck. I was like, Jake, I bought something. And then
So now, is Authentic Entertainment and Captain's separate, or are they kind of blending into one thing?
they kind of blend in together with the DBA of Captains. So, but they kind of blend in together with, we can do Captains with Authentic Entertainment as me DJing, and Captains can kind of serve pizzas, a late night snack, or whatever you need for.
So Captain's is going to be like the face of the brand
Yes.
for the food truck and that process, the wood-fired pizza. And Authentic Entertainment is the overall umbrella, the DJ, the services, a week show up at music festivals, etc.
Yeah,
Yep.
correct.
Makes perfect sense. Let's talk a little bit about that pandemic year. We don't have to discuss any of the political things. We don't have to discuss. I already have 2 strikes on my channel for speaking my opinion. Okay. So here's what I would say. What was that year like, especially as a man that's starting to create momentum? You guys realize how important that is. You're getting your business running. You're trying to keep things moving in the right direction. The whole world shuts down. What was that like? And how did you find inspiration to take your life savings and go buy a food truck in the middle of it when nobody knew what was coming next? You pulled the trigger on that. It might be that lack of fear response or lack of what's going to go wrong. You know what I mean? Because you said you dumped your life savings in that. Let's talk about leading up to that. What made you make that decision and what that year was like for you?
It was a crazy time. It was chilling, but it gave me a really good time to think. Jake was still working at Schoolcraft at the time because there was nothing going on. I had no events, no nothing, so he was doing that, and it was slow over there. But then I was like, I just gotta do it. And I feel this Captain's kind of going well, and the vibes that I get from everything going, and we buy that. And August of 2020, we open up at the farmers market in Howell, and this has been awesome with Colleen as the farmers market manager. So I owe her a ton of gratitude for bringing us on as young guys and say, I have this idea. What do you think of it? And she's like, okay. And then we made that happen, and it's good.
So with the food truck purchase, did you consult with your Jacob being like, hey man, don't do it? Or did you just say, I'm doing it and I bought it, and you reached out to him and said, hey, I just bought this food truck, put my life savings into it? And
I don't know.
Well, I remember Nick had been trying to get me to come out to Lansing for a while he was doing the pizza there. And he'd be calling me in the dead of winter, and he's cooking pizzas outside of this brewery, hour and a half from where I live. So I was just like, God, I don't know if I can drive an hour and a half to cook pizzas outside to drive an hour and a half back home every day. Like it's a lot from what I've got going on right now to that. It's a lot. And I remember Nick called me and was talking about actually buying a food truck. So we had talked about doing food trucks for years.
what's a food truck cost? I have no idea of relative, 'cause a huge investment.
Food trucks are more, so I bought a food trailer per se, but you're kind of in that realm of a food truck. But right now, the Fiero Group makes a really good trailer, so it runs around 40 to 50. So not like a ton, but
No, that's still a big chunk of money during 2020 when the whole world's on fire to be like, yeah, I'm just going to throw it all into this. That's still a huge investment.
So, and then with 0% APR cards, and that's the best way how to do it. So
100%.
Yeah, Nick's very good with his finances and being able to use.
I am incredibly jealous of that. One thing that took me forever is I think because of my jump out of an airplane and figure it out on the way down, finances and budgeting has never been a strong suit of mine. You've been on top of that most of your adult life. You've been able to you know where your money is. You track. You're on top of that.
Yep. I think with Boy Scouts, so back in my culture of the Boy Scouts and kind of learning I love to cook through Boy Scouts through the fire, so that's a crazy story, and that's how it's kind of full circle into authenticity and Captains.
That's incredible. See, we wouldn't have even tapped into that part of your story. As a young child in Boy Scouts, probably cooking around a campfire, made a lasting impression on you that resonated with you and probably altered the course of your life and has led you to this moment. That's amazing.
Yeah, through my mentors, through Boy Scouts, Mr. Baker, and Mr. McElhome and stuff, and it's been great. It was really good memories, and they helped put me in that space to where I was going to be a meteorologist, and they put me in that space. They're like, no, you're not. And here you go. And then now we're here.
And your heart's in this. You enjoy what you do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's huge. So I guess the next thing is, like I said, so you got the things rolling. You got the DBA going. Captains is running well. You got your food truck. You've left Schoolcraft completely, both of you guys. So you're now, and both of you, this is your only job now. You're both working for Captains in the food truck, right?
Yep.
So do you plan to one day bring on other employees? Do you currently have other employees? What are like the big targets for the company moving forward? And like, what are the things that you're still excited about? Because I tend to find that people like you and I, we need a new challenge. We need the next step. We need, what is the next big thing I'm going to try to conquer? What is that for you guys?
Never getting satisfied. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm never. Well, I'm satisfied, but I know could be more and helping more people, and I like to give back a ton. So the captain's kind of motto as I go by is the pie that gives the slice back.
Now, when you say that, what do you mean?
Well, I try to do as much as I can for charity and stuff, and the Rainbow Connection is a great one. Josh with VetLife. I'm trying to do as much stuff for the community as I can to be that community anchor and kind of just,
and a lot of times some of those events are some of the best events that we do. The VetLife event that we did when Josh invited us out was amazing. Mm-hmm. Just some of the people that talked to us and just told us a little bit about themselves, or just told us how thankful they were that we were there to just provide a service for them. It was an incredible event.
You're referring to VetFest, right?
VetFest,
mm-hmm.
Yes, sorry.
Awesome event. So it was great.
That's awesome.
Awesome people.
Yeah.
So how does the dynamic of your two relationship work with you being like very different people? Do you think it gives like a good yin and yang to the business moving forward? Obviously, you're the business owner, but I bet you he brings a certain balance to the table that's really pivotal. Either one of you can answer, but like, do you think that's been a very important aspect in helping things grow in the right direction?
You can say that.
So sometimes Nick's not always the most well-spoken person, and I feel like maybe not the best, but I really try to think about what I say while I'm saying it and think about the big picture. Nick's really a dreamer. I feel like he gets some ideas, gets some inspiration from something, and wants to run with it. And so I honestly think it's pretty important for you to keep people around yourself that are not the same as you, because you'll get in a mindset with just this single path of thinking. I feel like just having different people around you, because like we bounce different ideas back and forth all the time. And like I said before, sometimes they're not on the same page just because we're different, and it makes you think differently. I think our dynamic works really well. Just me trying to think more logically, and Nick really seeing big picture and trying to think of new ideas and wanting to get them implemented. Really.
Do you have any target goals for your partnership and where you guys would like to go? Because a dreamer tends to go as dreams come to them. Like when a new idea comes, you run with it, and when something inspires you, you go for it, and you don't really think about what might hold you back. But it seems like you would have a different perspective, or you would have some, like, do you have a vision for where you would like this to lead to, or what direction you'd like to do? Obviously, it's his company, so it's like, I would feel like I don't want to overstep, but you want to bring out the best in him. You want to bring out the best in your partnership. You want to bring out the best in you guys as a team. Do you see direction that you would like to take Authentic Entertainment and Captains forward?
So, I definitely share a lot of the same values as Nick. Nick likes to do things as local as possible. So, like just the other day, we went out to a farm called Cardinal Farms. Really, really great people trying to do some really good produce. They have a little bit of livestock, too. They do eggs. Just trying to keep everything hyper local, I think, is super cool. Something I love to do, and it's really important for me, is to when I cook for someone, if I can, tell them where their food's coming from. So like I know a handful of people who hunt and stuff like that. I don't personally, but I can get some venison or something like that. And so I love cooking something like that, and then being able to explain to people where it came from. And I think that's a big thing that we share. I don't know if I have a huge idea of, like 10 years from now, I think we should be right here. Yeah, I don't know.
You're trying to turn it into an experience for people is what it sounds like. You're trying to make it more than just a meal.
Experience all the way. So I think we're trying to change the game. And Brad's on our team as well, and he's amazing. It's what he does and stuff. And so I think
what is his role within the company? Because I understand the dynamic here.
He's kind of another voice in captains and stuff, and he's kind of at the front scene of everything as well. So what was I just saying?
You were talking a little bit about the other partner, Brad, and you want to make it an experience.
The experience way, yes. With the experience, I think as a team, we're trying to change what is a chef per se. I'm trying to change the scene for sure, and just saying, I'm trying to bring team members on, and we're going to go to the farmer. We're going to talk to them, like, what do you got going on? We're going to be making the menu off of this local Cardinal Farms, Cindy. So talking to them, what do you got coming up soon? We're going to design them pizzas or whatever we got going on.
So you're just getting so involved in the organic development of the entire process to create an experience. So you can literally talk to your customers in a way that so few people would be able to speak because you actually understand that information. You're just going much deeper into it. You're not just cooking a meal.
It's going to go so deep, and we're actually going to have events there. You're going to meet the pigs, but you're going to pet. So,
Nick's always had this idea of he wants to have the food truck. And maybe bring it to Cardinal Farms, which would be great. Have an event for like kids and parents to come to, where they can have kids actually go out into the farm and do a little bit of picking. So like just little things like peppers or just whatever to actually see where their food's coming from, see it being grown, picked it, and then being able to put that on a pizza that we can cook for them.
That's fascinating. You're legitimately tying the entire experience into a learning process that may make others fall in love with culinary skills. You could have somebody look at, this is how food comes from the earth to a chef, or through delivery to a chef, to an experience that we can enjoy together. I mean, you're almost in the same way you were inspired probably as a young kid around that campfire. You're trying to create that inspiration in others.
And the fire really brings people together. I think the fire is the best medium to cook with, and so because it's always had that camaraderie and people sitting with each other and that camaraderie-ship of just talking and stuff.
I mean, and it's primitive. It's throughout human history. Fire changed all existence. The warmth that it provides, like there's so much that you could be spoken on about just fire in general. You get a group of people sitting around it. Yeah, it's a medium. It's connection between people. You're able to produce a great meal. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, the captain's mindset is it goes way beyond just the pork. It's the friendships that we make through the farm and having dinner with them and everything, to the suppliers where we get our wine or whatever. It's just going to be taking that really next step as a chef to really step back and just like meeting a whole bunch of people and learning their values and how can we help them as much as we can. And we'll be launching videos of Cardinal Farms and highlighting their farm. We're going to be highlighting the pigs there and how they grow their stuff, or a whole bunch of stuff. That's great.
I could see this turning into a full-on educational program that inspires other people to pursue the passion of culinary arts, and it could be a game changer. It could be. I'm getting that vibe right now. Is that kind of, you would say, is correct?
Yes, it's So it's yeah.
How did you guys meet Josh with VetLife? That's a good question to ask because, he's one of the sponsors of the podcast here. You went to Vet Fest, which is a huge event that happens here in Brighton. I think it's his annual event. He plans to do it every year. How did you guys get introduced to him? Like, where did that connection come from?
It was from the farmer's market. So it was from the Howell Farmer's Market. I think he was walking by. I think he talked to Jake first or something. Maybe I was delivering a pizza or something, and said, "Oh, Nick is down the road or whatever, delivering a pizza." And says he liked the pizza, and we're looking for a good vendor to come out. And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it. Like, I'll put in the calendar right now." Like, we were getting pretty busy. I was like, "Let's put it in right now," because the mindset of captains is to go above, and I don't care about the money per se. I just want to do that, help the ROI of doing this than doing it just a catering gig is a lot more meaningful for me and captains and the whole team. So
What was the first year that you attended VetLife? Was it this last year, 2021?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So I guess just, this has been a stellar podcast. We've had 45 minutes of content so far. Anything else you'd just like to leave on this podcast? Message, to everybody that may be wanting to check out your company. People that if you could leave an impression on what Captains is and what it stands for and what it means and authentic entertainment, anything like that from both of you, just, it's great for people to see the people steering the ship. And I might be using that because it's captains, but it's great for people to see the people at the top. You know what I mean? When you go to some major, chain for your food, you don't know the people running that. You don't know if there's authenticity driving that. You don't know if they're using quality ingredients or if they're taking bottom of the barrel things to maximize profit. You don't know any of these things. So I love trying to introduce real people to the community that they can be inspired by, that they can look at and go, you know what, those are the people we want to support. Instead of bringing in just ordering from Gordon's Food Services that they're not going to struggle at all, whether you order from them or not, they're good. Yep. Reaching out to a local business owner that's a dreamer, that's trying to make things better, that's trying to inspire, is trying to educate, trying to motivate, that's the direction we should go, especially as our small communities. You know what I mean? You want to enhance your community, give to your community, etc. So just anything you'd like to leave on the table about either one, and then we'll probably wrap this thing up.
Cool. Yeah. I think the next goal and vision for captains is to just acquire more good vibe team members and stuff to help build it and teaching them what the chef is I want to be in the future, what I want the chef industry to kind of go towards. And I think it's going towards that way, and I think that's the next big vision for captains is really acquire really great vibe people to work with the culture of the team we're trying to build and to help move the company forward, but build their futures as well.
Where's your home base, by the way? I didn't even ask because you said you were at Cleary, so obviously I figured it was around this area, but captains came out of Lansing. Where's your home base, or is it just kind of this region?
Mm-hmm. Well, we right now, we're just the food trailer just going around, so we just bought a location right on Main Street in Brighton, so we'll be expanding to there soon. So that's the next big jump for captains that's happening right now that don't know what we're doing, but we are going to get there, put the pizza oven in there, and really be in the community now. So.
Now, when you say location, you're not talking about a food truck. You're talking about an actual location where you're going to serve pizza.
A brick and mortar, yeah.
We almost didn't even get this on the podcast. That's a massive step. Mm-hmm. That's huge. So
lots of stuff has happened in the past 4 years. It's been really crazy.
Where in Brighton? Because I'm super familiar. I go down to Main Street all the time. There's Chow and Michi's down at the end. You got Sagano's. You got the coffee shop. Where were you looking at putting in captains?
We are going to be I think we're good at saying, right?
If you're not good to say it, we can leave it at downtown Brighton. I'm just excited about it. I want anyone that watches this podcast.
We might be across from Great Harvest Bakery, and those guys are awesome. They're excited us to be around the area there. The Great Harvest Bakery they're awesome.
So you're finalizing deals to be right down in the community, and then you'll have your traveling food service, and you'll have an actual brick and mortar location where you can really spread this energy and effort to the community. Because there's nothing better than face to face. There's nothing better. You know what I mean? For people to walk in your door, experience your environment, meet you, feel the vibes, let the energy resonate with them. That's the ultimate representation for your brand.
Because if you look at our food truck right now, food trailer, the Fiero Group made a trailer where the oven's facing outwards and stuff, and so you literally just walk right up to us and order your food. You see the whole process of the theater, stretching the dough to topping the pieces to us, Brad, kind of putting the pizza in there, then us slicing it right in front of you. And that whole theater aspect is going to be highlighted even more in the brick and mortar space.
Big part of the brand is starting Captains was just having a setup outside of a food truck. So you could see everything. You could ask questions to the guy cooking the pizza, little kids looking in the oven, staring at the fire, like
making that spark for little kids or whatever. They love the pizza, so it's great.
Putting everything out in the open.
It's awesome. We need more experiences. When you go to these random places to grab a meal, you're just eating. You're just getting food and you're eating it. More experiences for human beings to maybe how many people will spark, fire in their heart to go, that's what I want to do. I want to learn how to be a phenomenal cook. I want to be able to create things like this. I was literally driving with my fiance yesterday saying, I wish I was better at cooking skills because it's just such a great art to take some raw materials, which you usually can be eaten, but you have raw materials and creating this awesome dish that you would enjoy and others would enjoy and you could share an experience. That's awesome. I was literally saying that yesterday to my fiance, and you're going to bring that experience to Brighton. And I think it's a phenomenal choice location because Brighton is not super small. It's not rural, but it's not to the point of like a Lansing or a Novi where it's overwhelming. There's still a small town feel when you walk down Main Street. You can know the businesses there. You can know the business owners. You go to Buff City Soap and it's a local businessman that runs it. You go, so you walk 2 more doors down. Next thing you know, you can witness the experience of passionate people making food.
Which I just talked to Buff City Soap, and then actually he's going to be making a special soap. I went in there the other day. He's going to make a special soap for captains that's going to have in the bathroom that specific smell. So the whole experience is going to be just really kicked up a notch. How you're going to really remember.
Not your ordinary experience.
It's just going to be a pizza right now, but that pizza is the best pizza you ever have.
That's amazing. And did you meet Chris Kleba, the owner? Was he the one? Yeah. He comes, he does jiu-jitsu here. He's been a friend of mine for about 8 years. He's been a student here for a long time. That's awesome. So it's cool. What a small world. You know what I mean? He's been on my podcast. His father's been on my podcast. And it's all tied together. So, man, it was a pleasure sitting and talking with you today, Nick and Jacob. And it's been great to hear your story. And now I'm super excited for that location. I'll be in there. I'll be coming in to be a part of the experience. And my fiance has a young son. Bring him in, let him experience the energy, you know what I mean? And that's just, I'm proud to have that in our community.
I'm really excited for, I'm trying to really build relationships, meeting Josh. I'm trying to help him as much as I can, too, because we're going to get a liquor license as well. So we're going to put a tap on for VetLife, and every beer that's sold on that tap is going to go towards VetLife. And then having maybe events here or something. I know I'm in the phase of kind of building this business, and my next phase is kind of getting more athletic now, and so hopefully I can come in here more and being with you and a whole bunch of stuff. So
100%. Networking is extremely powerful. When you get all these small business passionate people together and we work as a team, there's more success for everybody. Like I said, the mega people, they're not going anywhere. They're good. We need more people dialing in, trying to make this life, society, environment better for one another. And if we do that, we're going to succeed at that. So it was a pleasure sitting with you two gentlemen today, and we'll wrap this thing up.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us out.